Bus driver, have you ever even seen a doctor?" The teenage girl mocks with a smirk. The old man glances at her through the rearview mirror, calm and silent. 20 minutes later, as he saves her father's life, the words that leave his mouth freeze everyone on that bus. "I spent 30 years as a trauma surgeon at Walter Reed Army Medical Center, sweetheart. Welcome to the human stories." Before we begin this powerful story of hidden dignity and unexpected heroism, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be remembered, hit that subscribe button and help us keep these voices alive. 5:30 a.m. The city hasn't awakened yet, but Dr. Michael Rodriguez is already ready. At 61, medium height, completely gray hair, but his posture still straight. Every morning, the same ritual: black coffee, 1 sugar, newspaper headlines, and the keys to Route 42. In the depot, he's inspecting his bus. Brakes, tires, engine oil, everything must be perfect. Because this isn't just a vehicle, it's a responsibility that ensures over 200 people get home safely every day. Michael was never much of a talker. He'd say, "Good morning" to the depot, nod to the dispatcher, and go about his business. No one wondered about his past. No one asked questions. To everyone, he was just the old driver on Route 42. But Michael's hands were different. The way he gripped the steering wheel, the precision when shifting gears, the measured force when pressing the brake pedal. These weren't just hands that drove buses. These were hands that had saved lives. The first run starts at 6 a.m., people waiting at stops, sleepy faces, coffee aromas, and shoulders just beginning to carry the day's weariness. Michael knows them all now. He's been working the same route for 8 years. Same faces, same stops, same lives. Doors open, people board. Elderly Mrs. Patterson sits in the same spot every morning. College students cluster in the back. Working fathers read newspapers by the windows. And Michael silently carries them all. 2:30 p.m. Afternoon hours, when students are most crowded, Michael stops the Route 42 at Jefferson High School. A group of 15 to 16-year-olds board. They're talking among themselves, laughing, commenting on everything with the boldness their age provides. One of them, trying to show off to his friends, raises his voice. "This guy's been working the same route forever. Probably never had another job in his life." Michael sees their glances in the mirror but shows no reaction. In his 40-year medical career, he'd heard much worse. A group of teenagers' comments don't affect him, but the kids don't stop. The boldest among them, a 16-year-old girl named Madison, stands up with her friend's encouragement. She walks toward the front of the bus and turns to Michael. "Hey, bus driver," she says, her voice loud enough for the entire bus to hear. "Have you ever even seen a doctor?" Other passengers on the bus turn to look. Some frown, others wonder what will happen. Michael looks at Madison through the rearview mirror. Calm, deep, tired, but not broken in any way. "I have, sweetheart," he says simply. His voice is low but clear. Madison turns to her friends and laughs. "See? So you know what a doctor is. Then why are you driving a bus? Didn't you have a better job?" This time the question is more cruel. An elderly man on the bus feels uncomfortable. "Girl, show some respect. Everyone has a story." But Madison doesn't stop. With the audacity youth provides, she continues, "Sir, sorry, but if you're still driving buses at this age, you probably weren't very successful in life. Couldn't become a doctor? Couldn't become an engineer? So what did you do?" Michael grips the steering wheel a bit tighter this time. His pulse doesn't quicken, he doesn't speak, but something changes in his eyes. A door that was closed long ago slowly begins to open. The bus passes through downtown Chicago. Rush hour, crowded. Among the passengers getting on is a man in his mid-40s. Suit and tie, briefcase in hand, talking on his phone. Work stress is written on his face, fatigue in his voice. This man is Robert Patterson, an insurance agent. He's complaining to his wife on the phone. "Honey, this meeting ran long. I'll be home late. Tell Madison to do her homework." Michael watches this man in the mirror. Madison, same name. Maybe coincidence, maybe not. But life sometimes plays such games. Robert hangs up and sits in a nearby empty seat. He looks tired, out of breath. Stress, extra weight, and cigarettes take their toll on a 45-year-old man's body. Meanwhile, in the back, Madison continues talking with her friends. I really wonder, if someone becomes a bus driver at this age, what were they doing when they were young? Aren't you curious? One of her friends, slightly smarter, whispers, Madison, maybe you should stop. Don't bother the man. But Madison won't quit. No way, I'm curious. Hey, bus driver, she calls again. What job did you do when you were young? Michael doesn't answer this time, because the answer to that question is the kind of answer no one on that bus is prepared for. A life spent 30 years in military hospitals, thousands of surgeries, patients lost in war, lives saved. But life doesn't give him time to answer. Exactly 3:15 p.m. As the bus passes Michigan Avenue, Robert Patterson's hand goes to his chest. First, a slight discomfort, then increasing pain. His face pales. Beads of sweat appear on his forehead. Robert tries to take a deep breath but can't. The pain spreads from his chest to his left arm. His vision blurs. Surrounding sounds fade away. Help, he whispers, but the voice is too weak. No one hears. But Michael hears. With 40 years of experience, he notices through the rearview mirror that something is wrong. There's a change in Robert's body language, breathing, color. Michael slows the bus and starts pulling to the right. In the back, Madison is still talking with her friends. Other passengers are busy with their own affairs. No one realizes the severity of Robert's condition. Sir, Michael says, raising his voice, are you all right? Robert can't answer. Now the sweating has increased. Breathing has become difficult. Heart attack symptoms are very clear. Michael switches to emergency mode. He pulls the bus to the nearest stop and turns off the engine. He turns around and addresses the entire bus. Everyone, please stay calm. The gentleman is having a heart attack. I'm calling an ambulance. Everyone on the bus suddenly falls silent. Madison's smile fades from her face as other passengers look on with concern. Michael takes out his phone. 911. We have a heart attack patient at the Michigan Avenue stop. Send an ambulance immediately. During the phone call, Robert's condition worsens. He starts having trouble breathing. His color turns gray. Michael doesn't hesitate. He gets up from the driver's seat and goes to Robert. Sir, can you hear me? Robert tries to open his eyes, but it's difficult. Michael checks his pulse, observes the fullness in his neck veins, listens to his breathing. With experienced doctor's eyes, he performs a complete examination. Please listen to me, Michael says, his voice now not a driver's voice, but a doctor's voice. You're having a massive myocardial infarction. Try to stay calm. Everyone on the bus is shocked. Myocardial what? Infarction what? How are these words coming from a bus driver's mouth? Michael lays Robert on his side in the seat, elevates his legs. Then he opens his shirt and begins chest compressions. His hand's position is perfect, pressure correct, rhythm ideal. 30-2 rhythm, he says to himself. Chest compressions 2 to 2.4 inches deep, 100 to 120 per minute. These professional terms shock everyone on the bus, especially Madison. She's not laughing anymore. Her father's life is in danger, and the man trying to save him is the bus driver she just mocked. Michael continues CPR, 30 compressions, 2 breaths. His hand's movement is automatic, experienced, precise. A movement he's performed hundreds of times over 40 years. Does anyone have aspirin? He asks the bus. Anyone have aspirin? An elderly woman takes aspirin from her purse. Michael places the tablet on Robert's tongue. Chew it, don't swallow. Chew. Robert barely chews the tablet. Michael checks his pulse again. Heart rhythm is irregular but still working. Meanwhile, ambulance sirens begin to be heard. Michael knows from experience that he needs to keep him alive until the ambulance arrives. He continues CPR, checking pulse at intervals. EKG monitor needed, he says to himself. Probably STEMI, emergency catheterization required. Madison is crying now. Her father's face is gray, breathing weak, and the man trying to save him is the bus driver she just called unsuccessful. Please, Madison says, pleading in her voice, save my dad. Michael looks at her. There's no anger in that look, no hurt, only compassion. "We'll save him, sweetheart. You stay calm." The ambulance arrives. Paramedics get on the bus. Michael reports the situation to them. 45-year-old male patient. Chest pain started 15 minutes ago. Suspected massive anterior myocardial infarction. CPR applied for 10 minutes. Aspirin given. Pulse 110, weak and thready. Breathing shallow, 25 per minute. The paramedics are shocked. Only a doctor could give this report. "Are you a doctor?" asks the team leader. Michael hesitates, then quietly nods. "I used to be." As paramedics transfer the patient to the stretcher, Michael makes final checks. EKG electrode placement, IV catheter, oxygen mask. Everything is correct. "Which hospital did you work at?" asks the young paramedic. "Walter Reed Army Medical Center," Michael says. "Cardiothoracic surgery department, 30 years. Everyone on the bus is frozen. After the ambulance leaves, the bus is engulfed in silence. Michael returns to the driver's seat but doesn't start the engine yet. He places his hands on the steering wheel and takes a deep breath. Madison approaches. Her eyes are red, voice trembling. Were you really a doctor?" Michael looks at her in the mirror. "A very long time ago, sweetheart." Why are you driving a bus?" This time the question is different. No mockery, there's curiosity. Real curiosity. Michael turns to look at Madison. "Because being a doctor isn't just about being in a hospital. Touching people's lives every day, serving them, making sure they get home safely is also being a doctor." Other passengers on the bus are listening. "I worked 30 years in operating rooms. I performed thousands of heart surgeries. But when I retired, I realized that the greatest happiness is in helping people, whether in an operating room or on this bus." Madison starts crying. "I made fun of you. I humiliated you." Michael smiles. "You're young, sweetheart. Youth sometimes gives people false courage, but you learned something important today." "What did I learn?" "That you don't know anyone's story, and that you shouldn't judge everyone by their appearance." That evening when Madison went home, her father was in the hospital. The angioplasty operation had gone successfully. His life was no longer in danger. Doctors had said, if intervention hadn't been timely, we would have lost him. Madison couldn't sleep that night. She kept thinking about Dr. Rodriguez, how calm he had remained, how professionally he had intervened, and how wrong she had been. The next morning she went to the Route 42 stop early. She waited for Dr. Rodriguez. When the bus came, she boarded with the other passengers. When Michael saw her, he smiled. "Good morning, sweetheart. How's your father?" "He's good, thanks to you." Madison took an envelope from her pocket. "This is for you." Michael opened the envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter. Doctor Rodriguez, I'm so sorry for making fun of you. You saved my father's life. But more importantly, you gave me life's most valuable lesson, not to judge anyone by their appearance. You are this city's real hero, whether in an operating room or on this bus. Wherever you are. Thank you. Madison. Michael folded the letter and put it in his pocket. Then he looked at Madison. What's important isn't apologizing, sweetheart. What's important is learning. Months passed. Madison boards the same bus every morning, chatting with Dr. Rodriguez. Sometimes she asks questions about medicine, sometimes about life. Michael patiently answers every question. One day, Madison said, I want to become a doctor, too. Michael smiled. It's a beautiful profession. But remember, being a doctor isn't just about having a diploma. First, you need to learn to be human. And from that day on, Route 42 wasn't just a means of transportation. It had become a school that carried hundreds of people every day, but also taught life's most valuable lessons. Michael still drives the bus because he understood that real service isn't hidden in what you do, but in how you do it. And he's the same man both in the operating room and in the driver's seat, a doctor who lives for humanity. Sometimes the greatest heroes are hidden in the most ordinary places. You just need eyes that know how to see them. I ask you, do you know someone you've encountered who seemed ordinary but had an extraordinary story? Write that person's name in the comments. Share their story. Because at the Human Stories, we believe in stories that don't shout, stories that wait. If this story touched you, subscribe, share, and help ensure these voices never fall silent. We'll see you in the next story. And remember, when you see an elderly man walking quietly on the street, look at him a little more carefully. Maybe there's a legend passing by your hands.